10 minutes. Hello everyone. The last time we saw each other, or at least the last time I uploaded a video, was on Christmas. And since then I've gotten a GoPro to try and, facilitate the making of these videos. It's a bit annoying. Before, what I would do is I would just kind of hold my phone like this and record. And that would mean that I had only one free hand and it didn't really have that good of an FOV. My phone does have a 0.6. It's kind of like a bit of a fisheye lens perspective, but using that meant that I couldn't use the 60 FPS mode. And ironically enough, this recording is not in 60 FPS either, because it's the first attempt at a video using the GoPro. I can't really go here, can I? And it's doing, this is recording in 5 or 5.3K, 30 FPS. It's in 4:3 aspect ratio, but I think the reason that I'm using 30 FPS specifically is because I'm using horizon leveling, which means that I can tilt to one way or the other. You might be able to see it in my shadow over there. And hopefully it'll still, the frame will still be, level with the horizon, thus horizon leveling. There's also smoothing enabled. I think it's hyper smooth. This GoPro, it's the GoPro Hero 10 Black. I think it has 2 levels of smoothing, and I'm not sure whichever one I'm using, but I just kind of googled, best GoPro settings. I watched a few videos to try and find where they overlap and assume that those have to be the best settings. And I think this is the one that I used, or rather that I found for vlogging specifically. There's some for FOV, rather I should say POV, not FOV. Is it POV? Is that what it's called? I'm drawing a blank. I think it's POV, yeah. But I'm going to be using this one because I don't think you need to see everything. I should probably, I don't know if I can put my phone on mute because then I'm going to miss the timer. But we're walking in this random place. Got my bike over there. There's some people over there. I just kind of walked away for a bit so I could record this. But yeah, enough of the updates. Let's start talking about something more interesting. It's a bit of a weird transition, but I'll just get into it. Simply jumping into the philosophical stuff, it makes this seem like I have like a script. The fact that I keep saying like shows you that I don't have a script. I don't really know what I'm talking about or what I'm doing. It's pretty nice out here. Just ignore anything past the huge concrete blocks, and it's pretty nice. Pretty nice over there. It's like a tunnel thingy. Maybe I can go there instead. I'm not sure I can make it there in 10 minutes though, and I don't really want to run, so I might not go there. Just keep hiking up here. I guess it's a bit better of a transition. So I have been thinking recently. You can hear some motorbikes over there too. I keep getting distracted, sorry about that. I might not have enough time to talk about what it means to be human. So I was wondering, what is the criteria for being human? Or more specifically, what would I like to think makes me human? And I think the conclusion that I drew, which wasn't from a whole lot of thinking, I didn't really spend much time on this because I wanted to do the soul searching on the video itself, is the ability to hold 2 separate, sometimes, more often than not, even contradicting ideas in your consciousness. But not only that, also firmly and strongly believe them. And I think everyone has experienced this to an extent. I think it's most obvious in parents. You love your children, but at times you hate them. And hate is a big word, but it really is hate. Depending on the age of the child, maybe it's like a newborn, and you just can't sleep because the newborn keeps crying. It's keeping you up, and you love your son, your daughter, whatever the hell that is. But at the same time, you hate not being able to sleep, and you know that he's the culprit. Oh, it's a nice little butterfly. So you hold these 2 separate things in your mind at the same time, but it doesn't make you not function. As a matter of fact, it's a very normal thing. You do that all the time. Maybe you love yourself and you hate yourself. I mean, I'm kind of reusing the same example, but this is in relation to yourself because I feel like this is more relatable. Not most people have children. And I think nowadays a lot of people hate themselves, or they just don't like themselves as much as they would like to. Maybe there's very, very good reasons for that, or maybe there's very, very bad reasons for that, such as social media. Nowadays there's people that aren't really as, well, there's always been people that aren't really as emotionally intelligent as others, and these people fall prey to the trap of social media. And maybe it's not an intentional one, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've probably seen the Social Dilemma on Netflix or wherever it streams. There's a fire over there. I can see some smoke. That might not be good. And these people, they see all these other people seemingly living very, very happy lives, very successful lives. They're very beautiful. They have everything they want. They're always smiling. They post 3 pictures every day on social media with some kind of inspiring quote, and they're like, yeah, this is what I followed to get to the place where I am. And all these people are stuck behind, or they're feeling left behind, but at the same time they're not really doing anything, and so they hate themselves. They compare themselves to these influencers and they see that they come short, and then maybe they turn around and they look at someone else, because this is often the case with these kinds of people. It's kind of like the bully mentality, where you get picked on and you hate the fact that you get picked on, but then you turn around and when you see someone weaker than you, in order to make yourself feel better, you pick on them. You don't even realize the irony. These people, they turn around and they look at someone even less fortunate than them, or maybe not even less fortunate, maybe just someone that, according to their perspective of how they measure success, that person isn't doing so well. Let's say, for example, it could be an introvert or someone that likes studying a lot, and that person, you know, they're doing a lot more for the future than this subject of ours. But this subject of ours, they claim that this person's wasting their life away, that they're a nerd and they have no friends and whatnot. And then they look at those people, and in contrast, it makes them feel better about themselves. And somehow they can hold these two ideas of look how much better I am than this person and look how much worse I am than this other person. And you might think, okay, that's not really a contradicting idea, because you're just kind of putting yourself somewhere on a spectrum, and there's 2 other points on the spectrum, one which is less than you and one which is greater than you. So that's not really a contradicting idea, but at the same time it kind of is. And when you explain it out loud, at least when I do, because I'm not a very great, you know, speaker or whatever, it doesn't seem that well thought through, mostly because it is not thought well through. But when you experience it, and I think I have experienced it to a certain extent, not exactly in the way that I've explained it, I think you can understand where I'm coming from. And I think most people have experienced something along these lines, because as much as you'd like to think that people around you are just kind of like NPCs, that really is not the case. You know, there's this word in the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. Look at the cricket or whatever that is. He's really big. How are you sitting on this metal thing? It's so hot. I want to pick you up, but I don't want to disturb you. Can I pick you up without bothering you? There's this word in the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. I think it's called somber. But not like somber, spelled a bit differently, but it's pronounced the same way. I might put a link in the description. And it's the sudden realization that all the people around you live lives, look, I have 1 minute left, live lives just as complex as yours, and they face issues just as damning as yours. They feel just as hopeless, and at the same time they feel just as strong. And sure, it's not exactly a one-to-one comparison. It's not like they're the exact same people. And maybe some others really do face much more adversity than others, but it's not just adversity that causes this, because you can see it even in a first world country. As a matter of fact, I would argue that in a first world country where people have no issues whatsoever, they grow even more hobbled in their state of mind, because I feel like the human psyche, and it's not that I just feel like it, I think this has been proven, that the human psyche needs something to actively solve. You need an issue ongoing in your life that seems like it has some sort of end goal, you know? You need a palpable solution. And when you have no problems, the mind makes it feel as though you have a problem, and when there isn't one, it's like an invisible made-up problem. Well, there's the 1 minute. Goodbye.